My dad was on a mission in a very tiny pueblito in the middle of nowhere in Mexico called Montemorelos. It's in the state of Nuevo León, which is about 7 hours south of Texas. And he was building clinics in places that just didn't have them. And my dad's a pretty inspiring guy. And so we were born in a literal third world country environment and had no idea. And it was one of the most abundant times in our lives. You know, like I remember like the floors in our house were just packed dirt. We had no running water, no electricity. And I remember spending like my first memory of my first Christmas was on those dirt floors, opening up like a little homemade present that my parents got us. And it was just an amazing time for me. When I think about those years, it's like they're some of the best years of my childhood. And hopefully I can kind of somehow give something like that to my son in this crazy wonky world we live in now. But so we were brought up obviously with God in our household. You know, my parents were quite strict with that. And, you know, we moved to America by the time I was 6 years old in Southern California. And, you know, I talked to my pastor about it now because I ended up straying. You know, I ended up like being a pretty wild teenager and leaving home at the age of 14, running away and putting my parents through a literal hell that I've made amends for now. But I had a lot of questions as a kid, and I don't think my parents were equipped with the answers.
All right, so I wanted to talk about what she was just talking about, her upbringing and her parents being missionaries, and just putting her in that environment where she had God around. She was at least given that, and I think that's very crucial that she's gotten to this point in her life where she's coming back to her faith. And just like I think it's Proverbs 22:6 says, start our children off in the way that they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. And in her life here, I feel like that speaks volumes. Because you'd be surprised if you put that little seed in your child's head, it will grow. You know what I mean? That's all you have to do is give it to them when they're younger. They may not understand it, may not make sense, but when they grow up, it's going to come back in their time of need when things are going on. That just speaks volumes. I just want to speak on that just now.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, a full disclosure, because of yours truly's technical issues here, we're actually re-recording this. But I do recall the first time around we recorded this, and I did mention that we are our family's pastors. We are our children's first pastors. So ultimately, whatever seed we plant in our children's minds now, you know, it's like the mustard seed. You know, it's going to build on that. And regardless if, you know, because sometimes, you know, kids are rebellious and they don't want to be studying the Bible and everything. But when they get to that age where they're going through problems, and that's when we most reach out to God, when we're having problems in life. That's that's when you get on your knees and your hands up in the air and you say, God, I need you. And they get that from ultimately us as our children's, you know, first pastors, planting that seed in them. You know, it's like, yeah, dad taught me about that. And or mom, you know, it goes both ways. You know, mom taught me that, dad taught me that. So it might not, quote unquote, seem much to your children now, but it's such a big deal when they get of age, when they're reaching out to God, you know?
Yeah, super important. You know, I just give one last little tidbit. You know, just brings me back of memories of growing up. I used to see my mother on her hands and knees every Saturday morning, on her knees in the front room praying. So I remember when I got older and I was on my own, that's how I prayed. Was on my knees praying and giving God that type of glory. And again, it's the little things. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. All you have to do is read your word and lead by example. That little seed again will grow. But let's go and get back to that video.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing that.
And so that's like one of the things that as a parent now, that I really want to be able to do with my son when he asks questions. And I don't want to just be like, oh, well, we just believe, you know, or it's just like, that's what faith is. You just got to believe. And it's like, yeah, but I have legit questions, like whether it's, you know, elementary school dinosaur questions to like what the resurrection was. And and they didn't really have that. So I did go to Bible studies as like a child. Like I remember until my early teens, I had read the Bible twice, but I read it not really like understanding, or I just read words, front to back.